When I was growing up Catholic in the Twin Cities, there's one priest that really stands out. I mean, really stands out in my life. We were going to a new church called St. Edward's in Bloomington, and it was at Hubert Olson Junior High. They were forming this new church, and there was a pastor called Father Paul Dudley. And I'll never forget, I was in elementary school, and every week he had such a joy about him and a smile when he spoke, and he would walk around and he loved the people, and he knew everybody's name. There was something about that man that you wanted to be like him. You wanted to be like him. Well, he ended up leaving, and we ended up moving, and I kind of lost touch with him. And I grew up. I ended up leaving the Catholic Church, and then I really, through study, started to make my way back to the Catholic Church. And the first thing that I thought of was that childhood priest, Father Paul Dudley. And I did a little bit of research and found out he's not Father Paul Dudley anymore, he's Bishop Dudley. And he was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I called out there. Imagine that. I just got on the phone and I called, and the lady said, Diocese of Sioux Falls. And I said, hi, my name's Jeff. I'd like to talk to Bishop Dudley. She said, just a minute. The next voice on the phone was my childhood pastor. He said, Bishop Dudley. I said, Bishop, Jeff Cavins. Jeff Cavins. Was your father Robert? I said, he was. How are you doing? I thought, wow. The last time I saw this guy, I was probably 13 years old, something like that. He remembered me. He remembered my father. He said, how are you doing? I said, well, pretty good, except I'm a Protestant pastor now. And he said, how did that happen? And I told him, and I said, I believe God's calling me back to the Catholic Church. And he said, Jeffrey, he said, would you come out to Sioux Falls and spend a couple days with me? I said, sure, and I did. I went out there, and he put me up right there at the rectory, and for 2 days I talked to him and prayed. And it was there about 3 o'clock in the morning on one night that I was on my knees in the chapel, and I said, Lord, I'll do it. I will come back. But it was because of this man and his holiness and his invitation to return and his guidance and walking with me as I came back into the Catholic Church. I had the privilege of giving one of the readings at the cathedral at his funeral. And that is one of the great highlights of my life, is to be able to proclaim the Word of God at Bishop Paul Dudley's funeral. Bishop Dudley has had the biggest impact on me of any priest in my life.